Why am I like this? Why won't someone stop me? Hi everyone, my name is Leanne and today I'm going to be bringing you yet another book haul. Look, I warned you guys, December is a time when I acquire a lot of books. We've got my birthday, we've got Christmas, and I know Christmas hasn't happened yet, but you know, I like to treat myself. And I also work in a bookshop where I get a decent discount. I need to be stopped. But anyway, it's too late now, so I'm just going to tell you about all of the books that I've acquired in the past few weeks. I want to start off by talking about the Penguin Modern like little miniature series because I think if you're looking for a very last minute Christmas present, a last minute stocking stuffer, then I would really recommend these. I've read 3 of the books from this series before and I really enjoyed reading all 3 of them. I thought they were really informative. They were all non-fiction essays, but there's also some fiction and some poetry in these editions as well. They each only cost £1. So as I said, great little stocking fillers, and also if you've got like a Secret Santa or something, although I think it's a bit late for Secret Santas now, I think they're really great for that as well. The ones that I picked up recently, I got The Great Hunger by Patrick Kavanagh. This is an Irish poet and I've never read any of his work before, so I'm really looking forward to this one. I've got The Black Ball by Ralph Ellison, and these are short stories about alienation, racial injustice, and unexpected kindness. We have Clarice Lispector's A Daydream and Drunkenness of a Young Lady. I actually got this one for my Secret Santa with my uni course mates. These are 3 intoxicating tales of 3 women, their secret desires, fears, and madness from a giant of Brazilian literature. So they are ticking loads of my boxes, and I don't think I've actually read any Brazilian literature before, so I'm really looking forward to trying this little one out. Next is Susan Sontag's Notes on Camp. This is made up of 2 essays which analyze the differences between like high culture and low culture. I'm really into applying a level of analysis to what is deemed low culture that you might only really expect to be applicable to high culture. Like, I'm so into social analysis of pop culture, so I'm really looking forward to delving into this one. Finally, we have Catherine Ann Porter's The Cracked Looking Glass, and I was initially drawn to this one because of the title. It reminded me a little bit of Alice in Wonderland. But this says a passionate, unfulfilled woman considers her life and her marriage in this moving novella by one of America's finest short story writers. Another thing I love about gifting these books, and it applies to like the little black classics as well, and this is kind of more for like birthdays than Christmas, although I guess you could do it for both, is that you can, because each of the books are numbered, you can like do out someone's birthday with the numbers. Like, my birthday is the 3rd of December, so you could buy like the 3rd and the 12th book in the series, and I think that makes a really cute little gift. Anyways, next I've got a couple of Christmassy bits. We have Dorothy Wordsworth Christmas Birthday by Ann Duffy. You've probably seen these books around the place in lots of gift guides at the moment. Ann Duffy is the current poet laureate. I'm not sure how many years she's done these books for, but every year she releases a small little book like this that is just one very beautifully illustrated poem about Christmas. And I think they're just a wonderful little thing to snuggle up with around the Christmas period, and I'm definitely going to be reading this one on Christmas Day, I think. I was recently sent some wonderful Christmas bits from Book Break from Pan Macmillan, so thank you very much to everyone at Book Break for sending me those. If you want to see more of what I got other than the books in that little package, there is an Instagram post on it, and my Instagram is always linked down below in the description if you want to check it out. But there was like there was nice tea, there was chocolate coins, which I've already devoured, and of course there were some beautiful books, including this Christmassy one, Round About the Christmas Tree, a miscellany of festive stories edited by Becky Brown. This is part of the beautiful Macmillan Collector's Edition, which has these beautiful gold edges. These are also books that I think make absolutely stunning gifts. Obviously this one in particular has a lot of Christmas stories from a lot of beloved classic writers, and I definitely want to read this one in December as well. I don't want to have it waiting on my shelf until next year. I want to pick it up soon. Also very kindly sent me Watership Down, which is retold by Frank Cottrell Boyce, which is based on the original story by Richard Adams. This is obviously an adapted version in this beautiful children's picture book format, and the release of this coincides with an adaptation being done by the BBC of Watership Down. I read the original Watership Down a couple of years ago in my second year of university, and I had very mixed feelings on it, so I'm really intrigued to see what I make of this abridged version, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how beautiful the illustrations are as well. If you don't know anything about Watership Down, then essentially it is about the adventures and struggles of a rabbit named Hazel and his other rabbit friends. It's about escaping from danger, and it's about how humans interfere in nature, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to settling down with a nice cup of tea and a children's picture book. That's like one of my favourite things to do. And the final book that they sent me was The Queen of Bloody Everything by Joanna Nadine. So I think this book is predominantly about the relationship between a mother who is in hospital and her grown-up daughter. Her grown-up daughter tells her the story of when she was 6 years old and she met the next door neighbours, and she completely fell in love with them because they were a normal family, and there was the kind of mother there that she wished that she had. I'm all about books that are about intergenerational family relationships, messy family relationships, so I'm very excited to read this one. And again, a huge thank you to Pan Macmillan for sending those my way. They also sent some candy canes, which I'm bringing up because look how cute this t-shirt is. It says "sweet like candy," if you couldn't read that. And another beautifully illustrated book I have is The Tales of Beedle the Bard by J.K. Rowling, with illustrations by Chris Riddell. Now, I don't think I'd heard of Chris Riddell prior to this year, but now his name seems to be popping up everywhere, and I'm definitely not complaining about that. He is a phenomenal artist. If you aren't aware, The Tales of Beedle the Bard is a collection of short stories that includes The Tale of the Three Brothers, which is the short story within the Deathly Hallows that explains the origin of the Deathly Hallows. And this is just a beautiful illustrated version of it. I've not read The Tales of Beedle the Bard since I want to say maybe 15, so it's been quite a few years now, and I'm really looking forward to experiencing these stories again. Recently I bought a copy of A Girl is a Half-Formed Thing by Emer McBride. I read Emer McBride's second novel, The Lesser Bohemians. Was it earlier this year? Yeah, it was earlier this year, and I really enjoyed it. This one tells the story of a young woman's relationship with her brother and how she feels overshadowed by him because he was very ill as a child. In The Lesser Bohemians, Emer McBride possessed a real talent in delving into someone's really buried subconscious feelings, and I'm really looking forward to seeing if she does the same in this one. Next up we have The Testament of Mary by Colm Tóibín, another fantastic Irish writer here. This was a bit of an impulse buy for me. I'd heard a couple of people talking about this book, and when I saw it in a second-hand shop, I decided to pick it up and give it a go. It's quite a slim one, and it is basically the story of what happens after the death of Jesus from the perspective of his mother Mary. I really enjoy books that take quite a nuanced look at religion and religious teachings. It is a really unique perspective, I think, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what the author has done with it. I also picked up the winner of this year's Man Booker Prize, Milkman by Anna Burns. This book sounds really interesting. It sounds totally up my street. You've probably heard a lot about it because of its Man Booker win, but this is a novel that might initially seem like a bit of a dystopian novel, but it's actually about the Troubles in Northern Ireland. If you've been on this channel for a while, you know that I love books that are about Ireland, but I haven't actually read all that much about Northern Ireland, so I'm really looking forward to delving into this one. I tend to quite enjoy Man Booker books, so hopefully I enjoy this one as well. Next up I have Truly Madly Guilty by Leanne Moriarty. I do have this on ebook, but let's be real, when am I going to read my ebooks? I read 2 Leanne Moriarty books in the past and I really enjoyed both of them, particularly Big Little Lies. And the way I describe her books are basically like if contemporary women's fiction or chick lit or whatever you want to call it and thrillers had a baby, you would get Leanne Moriarty books. All I know about this book is that it begins with a barbecue and someone ends up dead. Her books tend to be about friendships and marriage, which are all challenged or slightly on the rocks, and the dynamics between these people, but with a murder in the mix. Her books are so gripping, and I'm sure this one will be as well. Next up, I have A One Day in December by Josie Silver, and this is meant to be the feel-good book for Christmas 2018. And you know what? I've just finished all of the university assignments I have to do until January. I want to give myself some proper time off. I want to enjoy some really cozy reads, and I think this is going to be so perfect. So this is about a young woman who is on a bus one day around Christmas time, and she spots this guy through like a misted up bus window, and she's like, oh my god, he's the one. This is the love of my life. But then she has no way of finding him again. But 1 year later, at a Christmas party, her best friend Sarah introduces her to her new boyfriend, who is that guy that she spotted from the bus. And I guess things get complicated from there. I don't know. I'm gonna read this one around Christmas, obviously, and I'm really looking forward to it. I am so in the mood for something really feel good and fluffy. Which is why I feel like I picked up this next book on a massive impulse buy. This is The Book Ninja by Ali Berg and Michelle Kalous. I feel like we're really seeing a proper display of the range of books that I'm interested in reading. So this doesn't necessarily look like the type of book that I would normally pick up, but on the back it says, never judge a book by its cover, and I was like, oh okay then, Book Ninja. And never judge a man by his taste in books, which I also understood. This is about a young woman named Frankie who's a little bit unlucky in love. She's done the whole online dating thing and nothing seems to be working out, and she is inspired by her job at a bookshop to try and find a man through enjoyment of good books. So she plants various books. I think she does it mostly on trains. Yeah, she puts them on trains inscribed with her contact details, and then she sees what happens. She is looking for a Mr. Darcy kind of guy, but she has a random kiss with this guy called Sunny who has never even heard of Jane Austen. And I think this book is kind of about her overcoming her snobbery, I guess. I don't know. I'm not fully sure why I bought this, but I definitely do want to give it a go. Again, on a bit of a whim, I picked up a couple of Oxford World classics, the first of which is The Mark on the Wall and Other Short Fiction by Virginia Woolf. I've read a little bit of Virginia Woolf in the past, but these ones were stories that I hadn't heard of before. Some of them are very short, like only a couple of pages, but I think it would be really cool to try these out and see if I can understand a bit more about how Virginia Woolf developed as a writer. I also picked up Scenes of Clerical Life by George Eliot. George Eliot is one of my favourite classic authors of all time. She wrote a bunch of great books, including Middlemarch, which is probably my favourite classic. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Middlemarch, they would get in a fight for my favourite classic. So yeah, not sure when I'll get around to this one. There are a couple of George Eliot books that I want to read first, but I definitely will get to this one eventually because I do want to read all of her work. And finally, I have a couple of non-fiction books to talk about. We have What Would Boudica Do by E. Foley and B. Coates. This is a book about how women can tackle modern day issues in their lives by taking inspiration from women of the past, such as Boudica. We've got Catherine the Great in here, we've got Grace Hooper, Agatha Christie, we have got lots of women that I've never even heard of before, which is really great. This will help you figure out how to dispatch a love rat, back yourself, kill it at work, and trounce FOMO. And I think it'll be really interesting to see what we can learn from these fantastic women in history about our own modern millennial problems. I also picked up Letters to My Fanny by Cherry Healey. This one's pretty self-explanatory. It's a bunch of letters to her fanny. This is just basically like quite a candid memoir about 21st century womanhood, and you know, that's my jam. And the final book I have is Educated by Tara Westover. You've probably heard quite a few people talking about this one. It's been sort of one of the biggest memoirs of the year. But this is Tara Westover's story. She was raised in a cult which believed that the world was going to be ending, and she was obviously influenced to believe that was what was happening. She wasn't registered for a birth certificate. She'd never received any form of formal education. And as time goes on, her father becomes increasingly abusive. And when she is 16, she decides that she is going to educate herself. And I believe this book just kind of follows that journey and how she achieved her ambitions in educating herself. In fact, she educated herself well enough that she would go to Harvard and Cambridge. So this sounds like a really intriguing one. I've heard a lot of good things about it. So that's it. They are the books I'm going to tell you guys about today. I don't know how I managed to acquire so many. C'est la vie. As ever, all of these books will be linked down below in the description if you would like to check any of them out. If you've read any of these, I would love to have a chat down below in the comments. If there are any you think I should read really soon, do let me know. And equally, if there are any that you weren't that fussed on, let me know too. I love hearing everyone's thoughts about what they've been reading. Anyways, that's all for me today. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will talk to you in my next video.